Hello, larger 164 scale collectors. We have a really interesting video today because I've never reviewed anything like this, and it's quite a bit of a backstory. But first here, I'll just show you, this is the only 164 scale car I have right now because I'm in America right now. I'm not at home, so I don't have access to my collection. This is an Auto World Mercury Cougar XR7. I have reviewed this, by the way. And you can see the size of this giant blue thing behind this. And you're wondering what that is, because I was wondering a long time ago as well. It is called the KPI JCI FT2450. It is a track-mounted horizontal shaft impact crusher. You can see there's a loader dumping in a bunch of rocks. So those rocks are dumped into this back end here, and it vibrates the rocks through a crusher. There's a giant crushing wheel in there, and then there's conveyor belt systems, and ultimately it puts out gravel. So that's how you get gravel and whatever aggregate you need to make concrete, roads, buildings, whatever it is. So it's part of the construction industry. I've actually seen a couple of these in Arizona, just parked in some sort of lot. So it's quite interesting. Now here's the backstory. You know what? Actually, I'm going to save the backstory for last because some of you guys might be interested in buying something like this, larger scale construction equipment. For me, it's way too big. I can't be collecting stuff this large. But I was sent this for free, and again, I'll tell you at the end of this thing. So one thing I have to note, this is not a sellable item that I was sent. It's actually missing parts, and there's probably some other defects going on here. And so that's what was given to me for free. Actually, I'm going to read this PDF that I found for this particular crusher. See if there's anything important here. 50-inch vibrating pan feeder, 18-inch conveyor, return. 600 millimeter tracks. The track lengths, these tracks are 12 feet 6 inches. 200 gallon oil reservoir, 150 gallon fuel reservoir. It's powered by a 440 horsepower Caterpillar engine, a C13 engine. So yeah, it's just a giant beast meant to crush rocks. Literally grind them all, well, feed, grind, and then dispense. Okay, well, oops, sorry. I am not at home again, so this is kind of a really half-assed review booth. Do what I can, as a temporary location, but I might be here for a little while, so I'm mixing in a lot of US videos with the videos I saved from overseas. Okay, so bear in mind, if you thought I knew nothing about cars or airplanes, I really know nothing about construction equipment. Alright, I guess we should start at the end that this process starts at. The actual hopper, I believe it might be called. So, loaders are going to dump all their rocks into this thing, and this thing vibrates, and then it starts filtering out some things, and it sends through that chute into a crusher. But you can see that there would be a motor behind here, vibrating stuff. This is extra things dispensed out of here, I guess, and maybe get sent to a collection bin. You can see there's a whole bunch of, rivets or bolts holding this structure together. This is some sort of, ladder. There must be a control box or something up here. Or maybe it's to access this. I think there might be some chains hanging here on the real thing to help break down the aggregate. It's interesting there's another chute here, so maybe they could feed in stuff in two different ways, I assume. Again, I don't know for sure, but why else would a chute be up there? I think I know one reason why. Oh, I do see. This is chipped right here, so I think that's the reason why this could never be sold. Another reason why is this door is not closing 100%. So I think the sellable ones should be able to get past that. But you'll notice there are some shiny pivots because these are steel rods. And so this door will actually open. And this is the rotary crusher. It's just a giant drum with steel blades on it, I think. And it just spins super fast, and this is what smashes all the giant boulders into small rocks. And this door is what's keeping it all, from flying all over the place. And then you'll see on the inside, there's some, bolt patterns. Yeah, there's no paint here, so again, this is a reject model, so that's why it's missing some stuff. Okay, so interesting. Yeah, it's this giant impactor wheel there. So here's, I guess where all the fuel and all the electrical, maybe conversion devices are. some access hatches here with the hinges and the actual door handles. Sorry to jump back to these treads, but they're matte black. Bunch of bogey wheels there, a drive wheel with teeth, and then just an idler wheel back there hidden pretty much. It's actually separate pieces, these tracks. That's why the paint separation is so good. Here, there's just a giant tank. And I think this is actually a hatch where you can actually clean it out. I think that can be removed on the real thing. Bunch of ventilation. I wouldn't be surprised if this giant rectangle is like an electrical generator. You know, it's probably converting the diesel fuel into electricity maybe to run these motors. But I don't know for sure. Again, I don't know anything about construction equipment. Some sort of silver toolbox with a handrail here floating. More venting, indication of the shocks or something to allow this thing to pivot up and down on the real one. There's also a shock or something in the middle of there. And then some arms with bolts. I think maybe on the real one these go in and out, maybe to adjust some of those plates, which affects, you know, the rocks being smashed maybe. I don't know again. A lot of speculation. If you know about construction equipment, and in particular this one, please leave a comment with some, you know, how these things really operate. I'm sure other people would want to know besides me. Okay, a little exhaust it looks like, painted in chrome. Maybe these are emergency power off switches or just signal lights to say it's operating or not. There's some hoses and an oil cap there, or a fuel filler cap, another cap there maybe. And then I know on the real one, or the real one and the sellable models, there's actually a conveyor belt here crossing here. And actually you can see here there's a chute coming out here. So I guess this thing can divert some of the aggregate, you know, off to the side, not only just off the end here. I mean, why else would that chute be there? But anywho, it's painted in chrome, and then also these conduits or hoses are painted in chrome, and the little black here for the things strapping them to this frame. There's a little black around the end of this motor piece, and then there's a rod holding the conveyor belt in. The conveyor belt is actually textured, and then you'll see the scraper for the end of the belt is painted orange. More of those conduits or hoses there. The bottom, yeah, now so these are 3D printed, and so all these little dots you see are the support material. That's just the way resin 3D printers work. So yeah, that's it, all those little dots. Actually not too many dots considering. If you watch some of my design builds, like my McLaren STR or my SUV, the Moon SUV, you'll see I put in a lot more support material. Okay, yeah, actually there's some of the support material up in there. Okay, well that's it. It's a mobile rock refinery. I guess that's the way I would describe it. It literally takes giant boulders and crushes them to become fine gravel. So that's interesting. You don't really think about, well, I don't think about stuff like this, you know. The roads that we drive on, the buildings that are made out of concrete, and all the ceramics and stuff that we use, they have to go through machines like this. I'm pretty sure this machine must be quite expensive in real life. I think I saw a listing for a used one for $500,000, but I mean, how much is a new one? I don't know. So now, I'm going to get this thing spinning here. Yeah, I'm going to talk about the whole story about why I even have this thing, because I would never buy something this large. And let me pull up this website here. So a little backstory as to part of this channel. This channel came about because of COVID-19. I got bored, and someone suggested you should make videos of the toys that you buy. And so that's why this channel exists. But before I even started this YouTube channel, I've always been collecting toys. And I collected airplanes, 1/400 scale airplanes. And they didn't have good models of all the equipment on an airport apron, like all the trucks that load up the airplanes and all the ground service equipment is called. And so I started 3D printing my own ground service equipment and then selling them on shapeways.com. And then someone this person, Taylor, that's this, I guess this is Taylor down here. Taylor suggested, hey, you should make one of these. And so I looked at photos of him, like, that is pretty cool. So I made a model of this in 1/400 scale. And then Taylor asked, I guess, can you make a larger one, 1/64? And so, because I don't sell things in 1/64 scale, generally on Shapeways, it's too expensive. At 1/400 scale, it's still pretty expensive. So anyways, Taylor saw an opportunity, as you can see here in the blurb of his website here. He saw that no one was making certain farm and construction equipment for 1/64 scale collectors. And so Taylor asked me if I could make other things. And he decided to start paying me to make CAD models. And then I send this person these CAD models. Taylor prints them, and I guess this must be his wife, Mady, here. She painted this. So very nice, very impressive. If you watch any of my model construction videos on my channel, you will find me very often complaining about painting because I hate doing it. That's why I buy finished models in most cases, because it's very time consuming to paint stuff. So anyways, that's the story as to how this website came about. Let me show you the top. It's called EPR Empty Pocket Rebuilds. They're based out of Iowa. There's a phone number, and then let's see what they do. Alright, so a whole lot of construction. Let's start with chain trenchers. So chain trenching is about like digging the trenches in farms generally. And it's not to dig trenches to plant, seeds. It's to dig trenches for something called tiling. Tiling is irrigation of farmlands. Because if you didn't properly irrigate your farmland, all the water runoff would take all the nutrients away, possibly flood the actual plants, and you're not going to have good crops. That's my understanding. I'm not a farmer. So you can see the pricing here, and in particular the scaling. Everything is 1/64, it seems, and larger. This is 1/32 scale. That's a big model. You can also see that the 1/64, this one has painted windows, solid cabin. But once you go to 1/32, this one looks like it's hollow with a seat and controls and clear windows. And also rubbery tires. So that's quite interesting. So yeah, that's a big one. Construction equipment, let's see what we have. Some sort of dump wagon. This crane is pretty neat. It's 1/64. A dirt hog. I did not design this. I'm not sure where he got the file for that, but it looks pretty cool. And in particular, this one really reminds me of those World War II tractors. Very cool. There's a whole bunch of categories here. So look at this diamond harrow. I guess this might be used to actually dig trenches to plant seeds, because it's not digging down very far. Fuel barrel, interesting. Renewable energy. A wind turbine. Yeah, giant wind turbine. I mean, look at the back of this image. Those are drills and a set of scissors. So that is a giant wind turbine. I guess it's to scale. It makes sense because wind turbines are huge. A pile driver machine. I did design that one. And then I designed this as well. I have no idea what a padding machine does. Yeah, something to do with the dirt. That's sorry, I don't know. Okay, let's see what else we got. Rock crushers. Those are conveyor belts to move aggregate around. This is a different type of portable rock crusher. And you can see all the paint here. It's quite impressive. So, I usually review cars. A 1/64 scale resin car model costs maybe $60 to $90. This thing is massive and it's only $160. So that seems pretty good. All right, what else do we have? Tiling accessories. So spools of pipe, and this pipe is what goes onto these tractors that lays the ditches. Okay, all right. Track tile plows. That's the big one here. 32 scale. Yeah, you can actually add company logos. Oh, another thing I don't really fully understand. I think Taylor actually knows these companies because he gets me technical drawings of these things, and yeah, at the bottom of that page about us, this person seems to be quite an enthusiast as well. Because this looks like a booth he set up at a diecast show, right? It looks like a convention center or something. So it's pretty cool that he has such a passion for this farm equipment. All right. So, anyways, that should hopefully answer if you're interested in 164 in larger 3D printed equipment, already painted, already decaled or whatnot. You want to get in touch with this website. All right, so let's leave it at that. So thank you, Taylor and Matey. I really appreciate you sending this model because that's a lot of resin. I wouldn't even be able to print this on my 3D printer. It's too big. And as I mentioned, I don't collect something like this, but it's not until you see something in your own hands that you realize what it looks like. Even though I designed this thing in my CAD program, the computer screen and real world are not the same. So I really appreciate having this, seeing the result of the work that I put into this. I forget how many hours I spent making this model in the CAD program. It, it must have been 30 or more hours if I had to guess. It was a lot. This is a lot of stuff going on here. All right, well, I do have a few other free samples that I was sent. Some of those tractors, basically, those those trenching devices used to put pipes or tiling and stuff. So we'll get to those later on, and we'll see you then.